Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why, did you finally listen to it?
Before we start this podcast, let me invite you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or any podcaster. I'm such a cute. The Groomer Next Door is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun into ride a one-horse sleigh. Hey! And here's your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Hello, Pups and Kittens, and welcome to a Christmas edition of the Groomer Next Door. This is episode 106. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me is the jolly little elf, Sarah.
Hello.
And our littlest elf, Claire.
Hey.
Why don't you get near the mic? Hi.
Hi.
How is it to know that you're on Christmas break?
Awesome.
Is it really?
No, totally awesome, but a little.
Yeah?
Not totally awesome.
Not
but
totally
little.
awesome, just a little awesome.
Yeah.
So are you happy that you have some time off?
No.
No? Well, you got to speak up. Speak into the mic.
No.
Why aren't you happy?
I miss school.
Yeah? Now, your teacher actually went out on maternity leave, so you will not have this teacher. So, you'll be getting a new teacher. Is that exciting?
No.
No? Not at all? Okay. Well, this week we have, a very jolly little episode for you guys. Hopefully, you guys are all traveling to family all across the world.
So by listening, they'll get their jollies?
Jollies is what I'm trying to give them, yes. I was going to give let's leave it at that. That way I don't have to actually move this to explicit. And then people won't have to worry, we can't listen to these guys. Kids are in the car. They're going to be talking about inappropriate stuff. So hopefully you guys are on transport. Or hopefully you guys are listening before Christmas, during Christmas, and hopefully not after Christmas, because you're going to be saying to yourself, I'm so over it.
I know, right? Well, great. That would have been fantastic to know about 24 hours prior.
Well, and that's why I try to make the album art. It's funny. I've had this album art done, I want to say 2 weeks. I was sitting after work one day watching a movie, and I'm just sitting there just enjoying making the album art and dying to share it with everybody because I really thought this was so cute. I thought, all of us feel completely knocked over and at our ends wits after Christmas, and that's why Santa's laying there just passed out, because we're always tired afterwards. So that was kind of the idea of it.
Is that his front end or his back end?
That would be his front end. That's his feet in the very beginning, in the very front. Yeah. I just thought that was so funny. I couldn't help myself. So we hope you guys are enjoying. So let's dive into the weekly roundup.
The weekly roundup, yeah.
So this week on our weekly roundup, all I can say is 6 days, I'm overdone, I'm burnt to a crisp, and I don't have anything left in me.
Nope. Nope. And then we gotta still get through 3 more days right before Christmas. And all of our awesome customers that we love to death will be like, we forgot to make an appointment, please.
I have
family coming out of town I haven't seen in 10 years, and I can't have a dirty dog.
I thought it was funny. The assistant coach of our soccer team came in yesterday, and she's like, well, I really would love to have one of the super groomers wash my dog before she goes home. I made reservations. Well, yeah, she did. She made reservations to board.
And didn't automatically make one for grooming.
So...
now we are...
one dog heavier on the last day, on Wednesday. I am one dog heavier.
Most people say, it's just a lab bath.
Yeah, no.
But when they don't realize how much is put into that bath, it's not putting them in a sink and putting soap all over and rinsing them. No.
Not in our, not the way we do it.
There's a degreaser, there's a massage, there's a slickering or the Zoom grooming, depending on what kind of hair. It's the
that'll be a Zoom groom.
That one will be, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make sure, so in case people are like, well, can I take a slicker brush to my lab?
No.
No.
Zoom groom or some kind of rubber mitt.
You can do it on a soft bristle.
Even at that, I wouldn't do it.
Well, I wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying, if people do it, the soap
Don't
would
do it.
yeah, well,
Just don't do it.
yeah, okay.
But
I
there's
still
so
can
much
argue
into it.
with you on this, and you know it would go 50-50 on that one.
No.
The
I
soap
wouldn't.
would actually end up
No.
counterbalancing.
No, unless it has those little plastic balls on the tip of the
See, we're already coming to a compromise.
to the slicker,
Yep, we're already compromising.
and it has to be a soft slicker, not a firm slicker.
Well, yeah.
Then it's like, what's the point of even having it? Because it
I
doesn't
don't-
do anything anyways.
Well, it'd be good for the bath on it.
No.
It would.
No,
It'll wash away all the dirt.
no.
So, anyways,
No.
she's like, well, I know I have it. So I look in the book, and here the book is completely full. I mean, it looks like we have a roster for a baseball team, for 2 baseball teams. And I'm just going, are we going to leave on Wednesday, or are we just pretty much going to be buried out back? So that's to be looking
it's like-
forward to.
It's like starting now, or Monday, we might as well have a cot,
Oh,
and we just sleep there. Because we'll be up early the next day, getting started again, and dead on our feet, after everybody's long gone.
oh, it's going to be hard. I mean, I thought this week was going to be hard. This week was remarkably easy until today. Now, we are recording a day early, even though the podcast will be released on its normal day. Tomorrow, I want to take completely off. I'm going to be exhausted, and I want that one day off to count. And I think you do too.
I had a bad joke in my head, sorry.
I'm sure you did.
You're
Such a weirdo. So the only thing I'm going to go in for this week is Sarah had always said on Saturdays the only dogs we'll take are the easier dogs. There's no way we're going to take difficult dogs.
You're not going to pin this one on me.
Oh, I'm totally pinning it on you.
No.
It's all on you, buddy. Every Saturday, the last I don't even know how many times, you've given us the hardest dogs to work with. That afterwards you don't need a stiff drink. You need a stiff bar.
No. I'm sorry. It was a good friend of mine that goes on Facebook and someone asked for to know about a good groomer and they said my name.
Do you realize how many times a week that this happens? That a recommendation goes up in a local area going, hey, does anybody in search of a good groomer? Does anybody have any answers? Do you know how many times our name comes up?
A lot. I understand, but
That doesn't make it right.
She's friends with Courtney. Courtney's a good girl, and I really, really enjoyed her working with me. She knows how we work. She knows our standards, and I couldn't say no.
Of course you couldn't. Thank you very much. I am dead right now on my feet, even though I'm sitting, and I'm still dead on my feet.
And we still have to do some Christmas shopping.
Yup. I'm going to bed. And I will stay there until Monday morning.
I'm trying to think if anything popped up that was
I can't
out
remember
of the ordinary. I know
anything.
since we haven't had any kind of hard freezes or any real cold weather, there's still ticks and fleas everywhere. And it's
I know,
driving me
right?
nuts.
It's like spring, early spring kind of time.
Yes. And it's annoying. Today, we're picking ticks off.
Oh my gosh.
Did we ever throw that bottle away that had the ticks in it?
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Actually, I think I did. I really think I did.
Yeah, what I do is when we're picking off ticks and there's so many ticks on the dog, I get a old water bottle that has maybe like an inch of water in it.
Oh, that had more than an inch.
Oh, that one did, yeah. But I would pick the ticks off and then pop them in the bottle
And I let them swim around.
and throw them out.
So pretty much it's like you're giving them a community pool.
Or drowning.
Well, now you're just thinking of it negatively. Stop the negative. It's a Christmas episode. It's all positive. You gave them
It reminds me of that King of the Hill episode. One baptism turned into drowning and everybody loses it.
That does have a moment. I just thought you were taking them to the community pool. I mean, it was a Christmas gift that you gave them and you gave the dogs. I mean, it was all around great.
But the dog, when he came in, didn't have any more than like 15 of them. And that does sound like a lot to some, which is, but not as many as we can see on a regular basis sometimes. But as we were shaving him down, and yes, it's bizarre that we're shaving a dog down right before winter, but stuff happens.
Right? It does seem very out of the ordinary. That's a spring and a summer thing, not a winter type thing.
So, after shaving him, we got to see dots
Yeah.
all over his back of where the ticks used to be, where the ticks were, and scars.
Yeah.
So that was a little sad, but he was a happy pup.
Oh, he was happy, all right. He was very happy. It is weird to see that, but yeah, you know, keep an eye on that. We did have somebody come in this week. She had called us about getting a flea bath, and you know, Sarah has made it very clear we're very, very adamant that we don't do flea baths.
Yeah, we have. When I first started at Shadowwood 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, almost. But we had a 2-gallon thing of flea and tick.
Yeah,
okay?
I hate that thing.
2 years later, we have half a gallon.
Yeah.
That's how little we use flea and tick. We only use flea and tick if there's an actual infestation that even killing off a couple hundred fleas is going to be better than not doing it.
Right.
You know, there's so many chemicals inside the flea and tick shampoo. For one, it doesn't kill the ticks. It aggravates them enough to pull out. When they do that, that means they're running loose and can insert their little heads into your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love my dog, but I don't want them in me. But
And the worst thing that you could ever experience is having a tick bury itself in your skin.
especially if it's in the fatty part of your skin or
Oh,
something like
no,
that.
I don't care where it is. I remember one time we went to go see a movie,
We both got bit.
and we both, right there in the movie, Sarah goes, oh God, I just got bit. And she goes, I bet that's a tick. And then all of a sudden, I thought it was just one of those psychosis where I actually felt the same thing.
It's like when I yawn, you had to yawn.
You're right. And I went, and it was in a very unmentionable place, nonetheless. We got home, and I look, and here's this tick buried in a place that you really don't want to see anything attached to. Luckily, it wasn't attached to, but you know, it was still in that region, and you're like, oh gosh, and it hurts when they come out. It does.
Yeah, I had mine in the back of my arm.
Yeah, you were lucky.
No,
I'll take
That
it.
was-
I'll take it there. I'll take it there.
sissy.
Well,
Damn
call it whatever you want.
But anywho, it's always best, even during wintertime, to make sure you treat your pet for fleas and ticks. I don't care where you're at. I mean, Alaska probably, but no. Keep your dog treated, because the fleas could still live in your house, because your house is going to get below 32 degrees.
No, yeah.
So they can still survive there, and they can survive just fine.
Well, the person who came in, we do a video for every time we go out to their place. They have a really cool little pumpkin patch, and we do a video every year. And I mean, to me, it's one of my more enjoyable places to go to around here. And I mean that says a lot. I mean, not putting down Roller or anything. There's not a lot for me to do. I mean, I'm still a city boy, so I'm always used to vast majority of places to go and things to do. So during Halloween, they have this great pumpkin patch, and so we'll go out there. So she came in, she heard about us. I mean, it was weird because I thought that she knew about us, but then again, I don't know how.
No, she knew about us, because when we went in and paid our dues, she was talking to us.
Was that the woman
Yes.
that? Okay, because I remember she had. That makes all the sense in the world. Now everything's starting to come back.
Wise man once said while peeing into the wind, it's all coming back to me now.
I totally missed it. Yeah, she looked at you and she goes, I know you.
Right.
Now I remember. Yeah, she came in and you know,
Well, the unfortunate part when she came in with her dogs is that she took her dogs to another groomer and the dog picked up fleas.
But she never realized who we were and what we did.
Yes, when we went up there, she recognized
She
me.
recognized you, but she didn't know what I was doing there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just having an epiphany right now as we're doing this. I'm going, well, she knew who you were, didn't know who I was. Then here I'm out there running around with my camera playing, Spielberg. And until then, she had no idea. And then this time she knew. Okay, well, there's an epiphany for me right there. Hello.
Oh, yeah, because it's all about you.
Well, of course it's all about me. That's what happens when you're a producer.
But anyway, unfortunately, her dogs picked up fleas from another grooming shop. And honest to goodness, folks, it can happen.
Yeah.
Because we can't sit there and monitor every dog that comes in and make sure they're flea-free.
Right.
And sometimes dogs have fleas that we don't know about. Fleas can jump so high that, they can get across the room in 2 hops.
Yeah, it's impossible to really locate.
For them to move down one kennel or up a kennel is not unfeasible. It can happen. So don't take it out on the groomers so badly. What you should be doing is you should be treating your dogs for fleas and ticks before you even take your dog into highly
There's your PSA right here.
And treat them before you take them into high populated dog area. It's like you take a dog to the dog park. You're not going to get mad at the dog park for getting fleas.
Right.
No.
Well, you live out in the country and that happens. Which actually, but on a side note, I do have to pose this because this happened. I found out that if you live in the country, there is no such thing as leash laws out there.
It depends on which country you're talking about.
Well, yeah, if you live in the countryside in this area, there is no actual leash law. So your dog can run amok, and there's nothing the law can do about it.
Only thing it can do is keep them off of your property.
Yep. And so but then again, if there's a bite case, that's different. But your dog can be, running around, barking at people, and being a little snot, and there's nothing that the law can do. And I think that's interesting to say the least.
Yep.
So
I feel people should have their freedoms if they want to go out, live desolate, and have the freedom to do what they want. But you gotta keep your dog in your own yard.
Yeah, you do.
You gotta keep your dog off the main street so they don't get hit, they don't get stolen. That is bad ownership.
Yeah.
And when you have a little chihuahua that shouldn't be out in 40-degree weather anyways.
I've seen it out in a lot colder than that.
Yes, in the snow. It ran around. This little chihuahua thing. I'm like, how is it still alive?
Well, what was that video I saw the other day where this guy goes, this is why you'll never see a chihuahua run in the snow. And he put it in a bed of snow, just put it down on the ground, and it was like, what was that? Probably 3-4 feet of snow, and it just went.
No, it was like a foot and a half.
No, that was more than that. It went all the way down. I saw nothing but the hole it made.
No.
I didn't make that video, by the way.
You're being dramatic.
Well, it's just one of those things. All right. Well, let's move. Oh, wait, hold on. I hear the recall police. All right, this week on Recall Police, we have two different kinds of recalls that came out over the last couple days. The first one is from Neutro, and very rare to actually see them up there, but Neutro, they have a Neutro dog treat recall. It is UPC number 79105-11344. It's for the Chewy treats. The reasons for the recall was potential mold. So that's kind of weird. I mean, obviously mold, that's a really weird one. I was a little surprised to actually see that one. And that came out on the 13th of December. And the second one is from Stella and Chewy's dog and cat food. It was announced, it was a voluntary recall. So the company itself recalled it. 4 of its products are sold in the US and Canada, and there's a possible contamination of bacteria. So if you have anything of these products, if you know of anything, look at the bags, do some research, see if these are actually them. On the Stella one, it says Stella Super Beef Dinner morsels, whatever. The Duck Goose Dinner morsels. The Chicken dinner morsels. Those are all on that list of the recall. So if you have them, make sure to take them away. And now on to G&D News. Alright, this week on G&D News, we have two different things we want to discuss with you guys. Obviously, we want to keep it to the Christmas theme and keep it as highly I don't know where I was going.
Positive.
That's the word. Thank you. I was going to say laughteristic. I don't know.
Positive.
Positive. As we possibly could. Because you know what? Nobody wants any kind of doggy downers for the holidays.
Nah, that's funny.
Yeah, I know. I just waited for you to catch that. So anyways, first story was actually out of Denver, Colorado this week. This is one of those times when you're taking your dog for a walk. I was kind of like, what? But, you know, obviously dogs will eat anything. So it's one of those kind of, it's funny because nothing tragic happened. And in hindsight, but it could have been. So it wouldn't have been funny if something bad and terrible would have happened. And on the second one, we titled that Dog versus Pot, was how you came up with that. And the second one, we're going to talk about dangers around Christmas and around the home. So let's go into Denver, Colorado. So Claire, play that clip.
5-year-old Bodie tends to eat whatever his nose leads him to.
If there was a cookie down there, he would eat the cookie.
On Tuesday evening,
We were walking up here as we always do, our last walk for the day.
his owner, Catherine Edwards, says Bodie ate something he found in the grass in Cheeseman Park. She didn't know what it was at the time and didn't think anything of it until a few hours later.
The behavior was so drastic and so scary.
She realized something was very wrong.
He lost all control of his bowels all over the house, and then he started seizing and twitching.
Early Wednesday morning, she rushed him here to Denver Animal Hospital.
I was crying so hard. I said, please save my dog. I cannot lose this dog.
Right away, Dr. Dan Berman knew
He seemed stoned, yeah. He seemed overly stoned, yeah.
Bodie had ingested THC.
The biggest thing is bizarre behavior, which, yeah, if one of your friends was stoned, you might see similar bizarre type behavior.
Since pot became legal in Colorado, Berman says he and other veterinarians have seen a spike in cases of pups getting into pot. Every time, the candy-coated pot edibles are the culprit.
It was probably a big cookie or a brownie or something like that.
For a sweets-craving pup, Bodie is finally coming down from his high. A scary situation Catherine can now make light of.
Totally stoned. I almost took him to Taco Bell.
But with all jokes aside, she says it's time to keep Bodie on a tighter leash.
So I have to watch him, like a hawk now.
All right, so opinions, comments, concerns? Sarah?
Okay. Now, I understand that sometimes when you're taking your dog for a walk, they just eat whatever they can. There's a lot of dogs like that. But you gotta try to stop it as much as possible.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously she wasn't able to stop it. And the dog got high as a kite.
Actually, he got higher. He went to space.
And unfortunately, he went into seizure. I mean,
that's the sad part.
It is horrible. When people say, oh, this stuff's just so natural, and we're just smoking what God grows, I think it's a load of BS. Because they lace it. They put a bunch of stuff in it.
And you're making edibles. That's the thing. This was an edible.
Cookies.
Brownies, truffles.
It's like brownies themselves. And
where's the problem with that? Where's the problem with that? There it is.
And, okay, dogs aren't supposed to eat it. I get it. But you gotta be more mindful.
Yeah, that's my thing.
More and more states are popping up where it's legal to get high. And
we have no stance whatsoever on this.
Yeah.
So if you want to actually say, well, you're against or you're for, we have no stance on it.
If they legalize it, they better tax the hell out of it. Give it to the schools. There you go.
There it is. If you're gonna do it, but make sure the money's going to the right place and not the politician's pocket.
Keep it out of the kids' reach.
That's it too.
I mean, you don't let your 5-year-old get a hold of your beer and chug it.
But see, the same thing with the edibles. The same thing's going to apply here. you're not gonna have this stuff in kids' reach. So why would you have it in reach of the dog? Now, obviously, she was taking the dog for a walk. Now, here's my takeaway, and I wanted your opinion on this. We didn't talk about this before we recorded. The dog knowingly eats a lot of grass. What does that make you think?
Dog has a constant stomachache.
That's my takeaway. You know, it's like the dog eats a lot of grass when it's out, and it's always, you know, kind of out and about. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if the dog's eating a lot of grass, then it's obviously got some kind of digestive problems, or it's looking for a nutrient that it's missing in its diet.
Yeah.
So that right there took that away. Now, I understand dogs will eat just about anything. Now, even at that, though, I mean, we have 3 very food-motivated dogs.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But they're not...
They're so motivated that Katana, I go Christmas shopping for these guys. Yes, I buy toys and Christmas gifts for my animals. So, I got a little Ripper for Roxy.
Oh, she's gonna love that,
with
though.
like, it's got like 16 squeakers on it. She's gonna go berserk.
That's her new baby. I'm calling it.
And then Belle, we got a little tiny loofah dog with 1 squeaker. And then Katana doesn't play with toys. She would rather chase a cat. So I went out and bought her some Pet Fresh treats.
Now, when Sarah says she would prefer to chase the cats, let me actually explain this. The cats want to be chased. That's the funny part here. Our dogs and cats really coexist together.
And the cats come over and shake their little tail in front of her, and then they kind of take off, stop, and look and see if the dog's running after them, and then take off more.
Tag, you're it. Every one of them. It's like.
And then they slide. The cats and the dogs slide to wherever they want to because we've got linoleum floors.
I love when Katana does the lower and slides to lower, and then you hear that roof. Love that. So, point is that we have dogs that are very motivated
with food. I mean, anything that drops, we have to pick it up. Especially, you know, we hardly have chocolate in the house.
True.
Because of the dogs.
And we don't really want to overindulge our child in that kind of, you know, too much chocolate and candy.
We don't have chocolate in the house because of the dogs.
Well, that too. That's a good point, though.
But like, even when it comes down to particular plants, there's some flowers and stuff out there that are just beautiful to have around the house, but we don't, just in case cats get to them. So, and then we were talking earlier, you know, we want to decorate the house, and my mom and I were talking about this.
I was like, I don't remember talking about this.
Decorating the house like we used to when I was real little. We had all these beautiful ornaments on the tree. We had all this decoration. The garland was up. The stockings were hung so
now
neatly.
You just sound like a Christmas song.
Well, it's true. And then I said, man, I really wish we can have this, but we have cats.
True.
We have dogs. And our cats don't know the word no.
Our animals are so spoiled. I mean, we were joking even today about how they're couch potatoes. And you know what? Our dogs live an amazing life.
But they also scare the hell out of people.
Oh yeah. Don't you get near this house.
The post office guy, or the mailman, drops off the packages.
Was it the woman that comes in?
No, it's another guy in a van.
Oh yeah, she doesn't. She actually comes up to the door. Like she came in the other day, and she knocked on the door. Hi, because she brings her dogs in once a year. And she's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And the dogs are right there.
4 golden retrievers.
Yeah, all shaved down. Right?
So,
they are. Okay, I thought it was right.
This guy, I mean, I was just right around the corner from the door, and by the time I got to the door, he was already in his car. Because when he knocked, the dogs barked.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You got a pit bull, you got a Nikita, and then you got Chihuahua.
I'm more afraid of the Chihuahua than anything else.
Yeah, she's pretty vicious. But
you touching my food? You touching my food?
This guy took off running, and I was like, "Thank you," and he goes, and he gets in the car and leaves.
That's funny. That is funny. All right, and our second story. Actually, this one we're going to actually do the moderating for, because honestly, there is just nothing good out there. No good sound bites, and we can do better.
Sound bite.
That is what we. Let me explain something to you guys, folks. The your mom jokes, you would think that they went out in the 90s, and they probably did. At work, between you, Craig, Laura, and I, it is, well, Jesse sometimes, but it is kind of not so much. It is your mom everything. It is ridiculous. I mean, I swear, I think I'm back in junior high.
Your mom's back in junior high.
See, that is an everyday. I couldn't tell you how many hours are spent just in that faction alone. It's ridiculous.
Your mom's in that faction.
There you go. All right, let's discuss the dangers of Christmas time around the home. Are you ready for that?
Your mom's ready.
Oh boy. All right, let's talk about food hazards. The typical, like we talked about during Thanksgiving. You have your chocolates, your onions, your nuts, your blue cheese. Let me rephrase the nuts. Any kind of peanut. Any one of those.
No, peanuts?
Nuts.
Peanuts?
It's a nut.
Yeah, but dog gets peanut butter. Same thing.
Yeah, it's weird, right? But there's probably more of a choking hazard.
No, I think it'll be more, there's other particular nuts that will definitely cause problems.
I don't have a list of them right in front of me. It's just different things.
Google.
Yeah, you can Google those. But blue cheese, fruitcakes, puddings, and mince pies can all be toxic to your dog. Watch out for turkey bones,
Your mom's gonna be toxic too.
as these can cause choking, constipation, or cause damage to your dog's intestines. Now, let's move on to your Christmas tree.
Oh, Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree.
Most species are low toxicity, but may cause a mild gastrinal upset, vomiting, and or diarrhea if chewed. Pine needles in themselves can be stuck in paws and cause irritation, as well as potentially cause an irritation or, I don't want to.
Well, what?
It can cause intestinal problems. If eating, vacuum daily, and ideally keep plenty of water in the bucket to help reduce the number of fallen needles. I'm sorry, Claire is tapping my knee right now.
Tap out. Come on.
Yeah,
time to
she's
go.
tapping out. Yeah, right?
But,
so I was getting very distracted.
So, another thing that can happen with the pine needles is that it can get stuck in between the tooth and the gum. Oh, and did you know that what are called Japanese beetles? They look like ladybugs. They attach themselves to the roof of a dog's mouth as the dog eats them.
No, I didn't know that. Huh.
I saw a picture of a Nikita with a bunch of Japanese beetles.
Oh gosh, so, oh wow.
Oh, it was gross. I wanted to peel off my nails.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Decorations. Christmas decorations are designed to look attractive and beautiful. Unfortunately, this usually means that they are also tempting to your furry friends.
Shiny.
Right?
So shiny, must obliterate them.
There's significant problems with ingested. Pretty much, if you really look at this, there's so many different things. Your tinsel, a little like spaghetti. Often consuming an entire ribbon or tinsel in one go, which I could think about that. Can you only imagine? I always think about the popcorn on a string. Now, we've never done that, but I can imagine that must be very tempting to a dog.
You know, we should try that. That sounds like so much
No,
fun.
I will be that one, like, bad Santa. I'll be the Billy Bob character. You having problems there? I lost where I was at. But anyways,
You act like this is professional.
I know. Look, I'm a Z-grade podcaster. What do you want? Holly, mistletoe, and poinsettias.
Poinsettias?
Well, poinsettia.
Poinsettias.
All of these pretty types of festive foliage are mildly toxic if ingested and can cause vomiting, drooling, diarrhea, to name a few. So should be avoided or kept away and out of reach.
That's one of the reasons, one of the things we would love to decorate the house with poinsettias, and we can't because we can't risk the dogs getting to them or the cats knocking them down for the dogs.
Right. Batteries. Ingestion of batteries is more common at this time of year, which I think that's kind of weird. Well, for one, I think it's kind of weird. I'm looking at Sarah, and if only you guys could see the face that she's making. You know, I think about the batteries, and I think, you know, most of everything is lithium right now. Most of your stuff charges, and you don't actually have to worry about batteries. I'm almost thinking that batteries are almost a dead art.
Yeah, so many things.
power source, I guess is the better way of putting it.
So many things have internal batteries.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
I guess, you see the RC cars and things like that, all the little toys. Still, the kid toys, a lot of the kid toys are still battery operated, which is weird. If the battery is chewed and pierced, it can cause chemical burns and heavy metal poisoning. If they are swallowed whole, it is possible they will cause an obstruction. All batteries are potentially toxic, so if you suspect your dog has chewed or swallowed a battery, speak to your local vet.
Yes.
I mean, that's just everything in a nutshell right there. Now, on your presents, one area where people can come unstuck is with Christmas presents. We've put a lot of effort in hiding away potential problems, but then wrap up anti-flows. Why would you put that? Somebody wrote that. Aunt Flo's. Of all things to write. Aunt Flo's big box of chocolates to place under the tree. Although, we can't... Sorry, I'm just completely stuck on this.
What needs to happen is, we got a fantastic gift from his grandmother from Figs.
Right.
Figs?
I think so. Something like that.
But it's food.
Yeah.
And the problem is that dogs' nose are so much more powerful than ours that they can smell the food through the wrapping. So they're, ooh, this is Aunt Flo's special.
Oh gosh, here we go with that. I thought I just got over it. I just stopped myself from laughing my brains out right now.
Aunt Flo's red velvet fudge.
Oh gosh. Now if you got fudge, that's a problem.
Red velvet fudge.
I caught the red. But if
red
there's,
velvet.
I get it.
Yeah, or strawberry.
I get it.
Strawberry.
I get it. Trust me.
Instead of the chocolate
I'm avoiding the humor in this at all costs.
Anywho, so
why would anybody write that?
You got to make sure that if there are, food treats that you have wrapped up as a gift, and there's going to be pets around, you're going to need to, put them up and away.
Right. And the last thing, now, here's something that I think all of you, I think they just left it right there.
Oh, gosh. These two people that are sitting behind us, I mean, they were just...
Well, they're the front row of the stage is what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, they're in their, mid to late 40s, and they're dressing like they're 20.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just so much better than everybody.
Oh,
they just left their plates behind.
I always hate that.
Oh.
Folks, if you're coming to the show and you're going to sit in the front row... for one, clean up after yourself. Don't have the waitresses come out. I mean, we're very glad to do the show, but, clean up after yourself.
Obviously, if you're going to have somebody clean up after yourself, and there's obviously no cash tip, so they know you're supposed to actually put the stuff away, and they leave it.
Terrible. But anyway, the last thing, and this one really caught me. I never heard about this, so this is something to think about, especially for any of you who are going to put your dogs in the garage. Antifreeze. Antifreeze, if ingested, well, that's not how they wrote it, but is very dangerous. It has a sweet taste and very palatable. Even a relatively small quantity can cause serious kidney damage and, I completely moved away. Where was it? Kidney damage and can be fatal. Unfortunately, the longer the delay between ingestion of the antifreeze and initial of treatment, the less favorable of the prognosis. So, let's just say you put your dogs in when Aunt Flo comes over to Christmas, and you put your dogs in the garage because maybe she doesn't like the dog jumping up on her. Maybe she has an allergy to the dog, which probably wouldn't help if she walked in the house. It'd probably still be there. But anyway, the dog goes in the garage. It might actually ingest some antifreeze, and during that time, you could have a very serious problem on your hands. So we just, thought maybe we would actually mention that during this podcast. So,
yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know about the taste.
I knew it could kill them, and I know the damage that
I just didn't know the taste.
Yeah, I didn't know it had a sweet taste. It's like Katana. She loves anything sweet.
Right.
Loves candy, and especially candy corn.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Or any kind of shape that is made from that ingredients.
I don't think that they make candy corn. I think that that's just candy corn that they made in the 20s, that they made a large volume of, and they've just kind of been giving it to people for the last, almost 100 years. Yeah.
So,
it has a taste to it. That it just seems like it's aged by 100 years. It's so weird.
Like if I wanted a handful of sugar, I would go into the cabinet and get it myself.
It's for chalky. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I always look at a candy corn and I go, I wish it actually had a date when this was
But it's
made.
kind of fun to stack them. So when they stack up, it actually looks like a corn on cob.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, so for dogs who do absolutely love sweet things, you want to keep that away. You want to keep actually everything up. You want to keep anything car related up and out of the reach. We had a couple fosters who I didn't know could climb. So when we had
Oh, yeah.
yes, we had an emergency foster situation happen, and I was actually going back and reading all the text messages from it. People talking to me about bringing them over. So I made this amazing little spread in the garage.
Yeah, it was great.
It was half the garage. I put up barriers so they couldn't, they knew to stay in this one particular spot. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, they made fried rock out of our garage.
Yes, all of our stuff that's in the back right of the garage is all toppled down.
Yep.
And
it was so perfectly put up, and now it's just, yeah.
So sometime this summer we're gonna have to get in there and box everything up properly.
How dare you?
I know, right? It's not like summer's busy for us or
I
anything.
know. I mean, I want to get out of town. I just found out that I can get to Chicago in 6 hours.
Nah. We got Comic-Con to go to sometime.
Oh yeah. There's a con that will happen this June or July that we're gonna go to and hopefully get some once upon a time celebrities to actually do little segments. I'm hoping.
So yes, anything you look around, the dogs can get their mouth on that can hurt them. Batteries, old tires, anything.
Even the cables on the back of the cord on the back of your Christmas tree, dogs and cats chew on them.
Cats love
They love it. And here's something I didn't mention. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Always.
But if I don't remember, I will totally forget this. Something that was not in this list of things to look out for. If a cat, because mostly it's more cat than dog on this, if your cat does chew through the wiring, it can actually cause burns, electrical burns, in their mouth. If you notice that your cat is actually not being able to pick up the food with its mouth or it's dropping right out, it probably has an electrical burn. Check your cords, because most likely it has a burn in its mouth, and if that's the case, you're going to need to take it to the vet. If it has ingested any of these things, you are definitely going to face a lot of different intestinal problems.
To get in there and shoot some coal down their throat so it can soak up all the toxins.
Yeah,
it's not pretty and it's not friendly.
Yeah, they'll have to do a chest X-ray. It can be really bad. So be mindful.
Expensive. So
yes.
Be mindful. Keep your stuff up. And another thing you gotta realize too, it's starting to get cold outside.
I hear a song coming on.
Oh baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah, okay, let's go. And now we just lost. Look at all of the people who were listening just turned off.
No, that was because of you, my dear.
Oh, probably.
Check the wheel wells of your vehicles.
Yes.
And if you're out in the country, make sure you look inside your hood, make sure there's no animals have gone and climbed up there to seek shelter. Especially if it's after the vehicle's been running for a while and you turned it off and the motor was nice and warm. And the same thing with inside the house. Our cat's new spot to lay in is on top of the DVD player, or the Blu-ray, and right up against the TV. That is the warmest spot when we watch TV because everything's lit up there.
Yep.
It's nice and warm. So they snuggle up, all three of them, on top of a Blu-ray player, and they're both like 20 pounds, and the mama kitty's like 5 pounds, and here they are on top of a Blu-ray player that's not meant to have any weight on it.
Yeah,
So
they do that to the PS3 and 4. Now, another thing I did want to mention, because you brought up a topic that I was just informed about this past week.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
If you live in the country, now, of course, we have people who are from England who are listening to our show, from Europe, and of course, we have you guys from Canada as well. We also want to mention this. If your car is parked in the countryside, you're going to have to open up your hood periodically. I was told that rats and mice like to get up into your filter of your car. They chew it.
They start pulling it apart.
They will chew up the wiring, but they will pull up the filter, start making a home out of it. So if your car isn't running much, and you're just kind of, you're staying home, you know, you work from home and you don't go out in the car a lot, mice and rats like to get up in the filter, and they like to chew it up and make a home out of it. So be mindful. It's that time of year. Just kind of keep an eye out for those things. Anything else we want to add on that?
No, I think we covered that pretty
Cool.
thoroughly.
All right, and that concludes G&D for this week. And now, on to the game show sweeping the podcast nation. Guess the breed.
Guess the breed. With your host, Chris Green.
Alright, this week on Guess the Breed, we chose somebody who kind of had that Santa Claus-y look and, well, had a really cool story with it. So, this week's Guess the Breed spotlight of the week kind of person that we chose is Winston Churchill. Now,
Another one, because the last one we did too.
we never did Winston Churchill.
I thought Craig did one.
He never was able to sit down and do his portion.
Then Laura did.
No,
did
she didn't do Winston Churchill.
Who?
She did Clark Gable. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, we chose Winston Churchill for the simple fact that we were actually going to have two people play the game this week, but unfortunately we only got one. So, a little bit of backstory to Winston Churchill, if you don't know. He was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He was in office from May 10th, 1940 to July 26, 1945. Now, he had a really cool story about his dog. He had two dogs. Now, obviously, the one dog that he was most notable for was his bulldog. That dog was apparently like a mascot to him because they both had the same look. But now, his dog that he was in love with, it was his beloved pet, was a different type of dog. Now, you and your things. All right. So this week we will start on this. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The temperament of this dog is it's intelligent, joyful. It's a companion dog. It can be trained to a high degree and is very willing and happy to please. Its height and weight is 11 to 15 inches. The weight is 15 to 17. It's prone to cataracts, progressive retinal atrophy, that's the word I was trying to say, is atrophy. Living conditions, the blank is good for an apartment life. It will be calm indoors if it receives enough exercise. So it's one of those types of dogs that, yeah. Do you have any ideas?
No.
Nope. Life expectancy is 12 to 15 years. I will give you some grooming notes on this. Extensive grooming is needed if the dog to be shown must be bathed regular and clipped every 6 to 8 weeks. Clean and check the ears frequently for wax or mites or infections, and pull out hairs growing inside the ear canal.
Do I groom them?
Yes.
A lot?
Yes. And, I mean, there's multiple different versions of this breed. I'm going to give you that one. That might actually help. There's different versions of the breed depending on height, on size of the dog.
Okay, and you said this one was 11 inches?
That's what this particular was. Let's.
Toy poodle?
Is that your exact answer?
Well, 11 inches, that's not very tall. Well, okay.
A toy poodle would be more than 11 inches. Or less than 11 inches. I think your hand
Or a
height is.
teacup poodle
You're thinking teacup.
would be-
Now, what was your question? What was your answer originally?
Toy poodle.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna. Let me look at the judges, and
Swing, swing.
we're gonna give it to you.
Is it a
We'll give it to you. It was a miniature poodle.
miniature poodle? I thought miniature poodles, because when they say how tall it is, it's normally to their shoulders.
That was the lifespan on this dog. Now, what?
No. The shoulders, their height is to their shoulders.
Yeah.
Not to the top of their head.
Yeah.
So 11 inches is very big. And all the miniature poodles that we have coming in,
yeah, they're much bigger. That's why I'll give you this.
Bred.
I'll give this to you. Now, what really makes it really cool is Winston Churchill. So congratulations on getting this right.
At least it's a poodle.
It's a poodle. You're in the breed.
Poodle.
You had the breed. That's why I was like, there's multiple different types of this breed. Winston Churchill actually wrote a letter, and I have this letter in front of me. Now, like I told you.
Please make this podcast longer.
Now, this letter was written January 25th, 1948. Now, this is written by Winston Churchill himself. Dear Miss Lobben, I am so sorry that Rufus has developed this distressful complaint, and I hope you will let me know at the end of the 3 weeks whether or not he has recovered. After the sad loss of the first one, his first miniature poodle, I feel that I would rather not have another dog just now. Please do not, therefore, look for another poodle for me. I will write to Mr. Grubner about this. I am very grateful to you for this trouble you have taken in looking after Rufus during my absence abroad. Pray let me know that what is owing in the way of a veterinary bill. Now, that was the letter written by Winston Churchill about Rufus, his miniature poodle. I mean, it was a beloved poodle. He had actually gone on to say in a previous interview or whatnot that he would rather actually not live on than actually have his dog die. That's how much he loved his poodles. So, if you ever wonder what dog was really Winston Churchill's beloved dog, wasn't exactly the bulldog. He loved his bulldog, but his miniature poodles were everything to him. And that concludes this week's edition of Guess the Breed. And now, I put this thing together for you guys weeks ago. It was a lot of work getting Claire to be able to record this. Twas the Night Before Christmas by Claire Green.
Twas the Night Before Christmas by Claire Green. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care and hopes that St. Nicholas will soon be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama and her cushion, and I and my cat had just sat on our beds for a long winter's nap. When out on the roof there arose such a clamor, I sprang from my bed to see what's the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open a shutter, and threw open the sash. The moon on the breast, on the new fallen snow, gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeers, with a little old driver, so lively and quick. I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick, more rapid than eagles. His coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted, and called them by names. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, that's away all. I drive leaves that before the wild hurricanes fly, when they meet with an Oscar now to the sky. So up to the house, top to the coursers they flew, with the sleigh for his toy, and St. Nicholas too. When then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and were turning around down the chimney, St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry, his droll little mouth was drawn like a bow, and a beard on his chin as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled in his head like a wax. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a white, jolly old elf. And I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like a down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Thank you, Claire, so much for doing that for everybody. It was, like I said, a lot of work for us to put this together. It was the largest recording that we had ever done to date.
It was uber cute.
And it was a lot of fun to do. We want to, again, wish you a very Merry Christmas, everybody, and have a fantastic holiday.
Want to make sure everybody realizes life is short. Play the pet.
And Claire.
Hey, my name is Claire, and have a good day with your pets and your cats.
You want to wish them Merry Christmas?
No.
Merry Christmas.
Nope? Okay. Merry Christmas, everybody, and we will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
Was without doubt worst episode ever. Rest assured that I was on the internet within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the world.
They're still doing a podcast?
I'm Baloney Pitts, and I approve this podcast. Okay.